morning, everyone. Now, before we begin our proceedings today, I request everyone to please switch off your mobile phones and any laptop that you might have carried here. Thank you. My name is Ajay Kumar. I am PGP1 student of TAPMI Management Institute. I feel immense pleasure in extending a warm welcome to our guests today, our faculty members, and also my student colleagues to Horizon 2012, the Finance Conclave at TAPMI Management Institute. The central theme for Horizon 2012 is the new economic order post-crisis, political reforms, regulations, and inclusive growth. Well, it's a privilege for us to have eminent personalities come down to our campus to interact with us, and I am sure Horizon will prove equally beneficial to the corporate and the members of the faculty and the students alike. On behalf of the Finance Forum at TAPMI, I also extend a very warm welcome to our chief guest today, Dr. Manoranjan Sharma. I now call upon the guest, and with that, I also request our Dean Administration, Professor Vasudev Rao, and our Dean Branding and Promotions, Professor Hariprasad, to accompany the guest and inaugurate the conclave by lighting the lamp. I now request everyone to rise for the invocation song.
Mahaganapatim manasa smarami Mahaganapatim manasa smarami Mahaganapatim manasa smarami Vasishtavamadiva Vasishtavamadiva Mahaganapatim Mahadevasutam Mahadevasutam Guru Guhanutam Mahadevasutam Guru Guhanutam Marakoti Prakasham Shantam Mahakavya Natakadipriyam Mahakavya Natakadipriyam Mushikavahana Modakapriyam Mahaganapatim Manasa Smarami Mahaganapatim Manasa Smarami Mahaganapatim.
I now request Professor Vasudev Rao and Professor Sunil Kumar Parmeshwan to accompany the guest to the stage. It is an honor for us to have such eminent guests who, despite their busy schedule, were able to take time out and interact with us. We have with us today Dr. Manoranjan Sharma, who is our chief guest from Canara Bank. He's the chief economist and deputy general manager at Canara Bank. We also have Mr. Arijit Mukherjee, who is the senior vice president at Anand Rathi Private Wealth Management. We also have Mr. Hariprasad, who is the vice president and head Treasury at Centrum Direct Limited. And also we have Mr. Rohan Mathew. He's Senior Manager Business Development at ICRA. We welcome you to TAPMI today, sir. Few more guests would be joining us during the course of the day later today, including Ms. Lavanya Ashok, investment professional from Goldman Sachs. We would also have Mr. Sushil Shah, Deputy General Manager, Solution Design from First Source Solutions. We'll have Mr. Sanat Satyan, Senior Analyst at Nomura. And we would also have Mr. Shomitro Goswami, Founder and CEO at Astal Group. It's my pleasure to introduce our chief guest today, Dr. Manoranjan Sharma, who is the Chief Economist of Canara Bank, and he has first-class bachelor's degree, including a first-class first master's degree in economics, first-class postgraduate diploma in business management, and a PhD. He has over 300 publications, including in the Business Review from Cambridge, occasional papers, RBI Mumbai, BankWest, CAB Calling, Professional Banker, Analyst, Yojana, the Indian Banker, the Economic Times, and the Business Line. He has presented papers at several national and international conferences and delivered keynote addresses at various universities. Widely traveled both in India and abroad, Dr. Sharma has made presentations and chaired sessions at conferences organized by Marcus Evans in Malaysia, Terrapin Limited in Singapore, NSIBA in Paris, Max Planck in West Germany, Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, and World Association for Sustainable Development in London. He has also edited 5 books, including Leading Issues in Indian Economy, Studies in Money, Finance and Banking, India's Transforming Financial Sector, and Dynamics of Indian Banking and Indian Economic Policies. His views have been cited in the Parliament, the Associated Press in New York, Dow Jones in New York, International Herald Tribune in New York, Wall Street Journal New York, and the Economic Times. I welcome you today to TAPMI, Dr. Sharma, and I would also like to request Pooja to extend floral welcome to Dr. Sharma. I now request Tripta to extend floral welcome to Mr. Arijit Mukherjee. We also extend floral welcome to Mr. Hariprasad. And we would also like to request Tripta to extend floral welcome to Mr. Rohan Mathew. I now request Professor Vasudev Rao, our Dean Administration, to introduce the theme of Horizon 2012 to the gathering.
Distinguished Chief Guest of today's function, Dr. Manoranjan Sharma ji, Chief Economic Advisor of Canara Bank, distinguished NYT resource persons we have with us today, Mr. Arijit Mukherjee, Hariprasad, and Rohan Mathew, and others to join shortly. Professor Sunil Kumar, who has been guiding this Horizon 2012 along with his faculty colleagues, my faculty colleagues, staff, and student participants of this conclave, ladies and gentlemen. Today is an important day and a memorable day where we are on the inaugural section of Finance Conclave of the Institute, Horizon 2012. I am pleased to greet and welcome our chief guest, Dr. Manoranjan Sharma, and all other distinguished dignitaries who will be the resource person of this conclave. Professor Sunil Kumar, his faculty team and the student team of Horizon have worked for past few weeks to organize this conclave successfully, and I hope the deliberations and the outcome of the conclave will be very, very purposeful for all of us. The broad purpose of this conclave is well known. The theme of the conclave is economic order post-crisis. It has several important key issues to be deliberated: political reforms, which we are all concerned today, the regulatory issues, and the inclusive growth issues, which Institute also gives a lot of importance for inclusive growth. I would not take much time on the deliberation of the theme which all the resource person and the chief guest are going to deliberate. From past 1 week, we are in midst of news of reforms coming out from New Delhi, including cut in subsidies, diesel price hike, FDI in retail, and economic and political turbulence that the country is going through. Yesterday, our Honorable Prime Minister addressed the nation on the matter of reform. Most of us have heard, and then I think it was a very interesting debate post their address. The country is passing through critical phase. GDP growth was estimated at moderate at 6.9 for 2011-12 adjusted from 8.4 of 2010-11. Growth rate has slowed down certainly in all quarters of 2011-12. Global economic output also has slowed down during 2011-12. Global output is estimated to have grown by only 3.9% in 2011 as per IMF report of April 2012. Reasons are sovereign debt crisis in Eurozone areas, contraction of Japanese economy, sluggish recovery in US, and so on. This low level of capital flow and less risk appetite, etc., are some of the other causes. In Indian context, economy was projected to grow by 7.3% in 2012-13, assuming normal monsoon. I think we had reasonably good monsoon. Crude oil price hike, slippage in fiscal front area are of concerns. But the Indian business, the bright side of our business scenario is that an Indian business can bring about critical changes by pursuing innovative business models. Many business organizations have done this to create sustainability in livelihood. Particularly in India, we have the unique advantages of multiple engines driving our growth, such as foremost favorable demographic profile we have. We have a large population of our country in the younger age group who are going to take the country to further growth and prosperity. That is one positive point. Relatively high savings and investments as of now. Investment rates and saving potentials are high. Large domestic consumption base. Yes, you can see the rate at which consumption is growing. Most importantly, the oft-quoted entrepreneurial spirit of India. I think we are nowhere behind in this particular aspect. So eminently, India accounts for 1/6 of the world population, but has only 2.4% of global land mass, 4% of world's fresh water resources, and only 1% of global forest resources. Coming to the resource part, this means that pressure of economic growth on our natural capital will be enormous. Our growth strategies to be fashioned to foster sustainable, equitable, and inclusive growth. I think today's deliberation will take note of some of these issues. The stakeholder value is considered important. It is not just shareholder value. All of us are stakeholders in the country's growth. So every business looks for not only stakeholder value, shareholder value, it is stakeholder value. Going back to history, you may know about famous Indian, namely Chanakya or Kautilya, who wrote Arthashastra in 3rd century BC. He was a rare mastermind and a kingmaker. His exposure covers fields like management, economics, politics, law, leadership, governance, welfare, accounting system, and others while writing in accounts and finance area, Arthashastra. Kautilya says, money is not wealth. Wealth is not only what is with you, but it is also what is in you, within you. He says, the qualities of a person, the character, and the knowledge are prime requirements for wealth creation. I repeat, he says, qualities of person, character, knowledge are prime requirements for wealth creation. Inner wealth of knowledge, experience, and wisdom are the true wealth. We have wealth of information and learning from our own wise persons like Chanakya and others in this country. To conclude, I hope and expect that Horizon 2012 would deliberate many of the economical, financial, regulatory, and overall growth issues of our country. In the corporate leaders present here, they will share their values, experience, and make some suggestions also. The hard work put in by the Horizon team under the finance faculty guidance is highly appreciated. I am sure they would amply be rewarded by the deliberation of this conclave, and there will be a lot of learning to all of us. I extend my warm welcome to and greetings to the chief guest and other distinguished guests and relative resource persons. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I now request Dr. Manoranjan Sharma to address us.
Professor Vasudev Rao, Professor S.K. Parmeshwaran, Professor Chaudhary Prasad, distinguished faculty members, friends, students of TAPMI, ladies and gentlemen. At the outset, I must convey my grateful thanks to the organizers of this conference, Professor Prasad, Professor Parameshwaran, Professor Rao, and others, for having me here with you all this morning. I may be a banker by profession, but I'm an academician by choice, and it's always a pleasant privilege for me to meet, interact with bright young persons like all of you here. I must also compliment and congratulate the organizers for selecting a theme which is of considerable contextual relevance. The new economic order, post-crisis, regulation, consolidation, and inclusive growth. As most of you would undoubtedly be aware, the last few years, the world has gone considerable degree of volatility, turbulence. In September, October 2008, the world was devastated by an economic crisis, a global financial meltdown, the kind which we had not seen for the last 60 years at least. The immediate precedent which comes to mind, maybe 1929, could be a close parallel, but for the last 60 years, that had a far-reaching effects, far-reaching consequences on the global economy. The Indian economy weathered the crisis reasonably well. Once it seems that the global economy was gaining traction, things were getting back to normal, the world has been hit very badly by the so-called Euro crisis. Maybe the dimensions of this crisis are not as serious, as severe, but still it has a lot of implications for the Eurozone in particular and the emerging countries of which India is an important partner. There are several issues which converge in the choice of the topic you have identified and isolated for you here today. Apart from the issues of the impact of the global financial crisis, the issues of regulation, inclusive growth, I think some of you would be aware that in recent years, particularly in the last 3-4 years, in India, as indeed elsewhere, there has been a lot of debate and discussion about what we call systemic crisis. By systemic crisis, we mean a kind of a crisis which impacts the entire system as a whole. Initially, this was not given adequate attention, but in the wake of the global financial meltdown of September and October 2008, it was increasingly felt that this is an aspect which needs to be given much greater importance. Even within the country, even within India, for the last 3-4 years, we have started this series of financial stability report. This is brought out on a half-yearly basis by the Reserve Bank of India. It is a very comprehensive work of its kind, published every year in June and December. Those of you who are interested in the macroeconomic aspects of India's development, their interdependencies and interlinkages with the global economy, it's a very comprehensive and excellent work. I'll suggest that it is easily available on the net. You can download it from the net on the RBI site. It's available. You can go through it. It makes interesting reading. In the last few years, especially in the last 12, 16, 18 months, there has been a lot of debate and discussion about the Indian economy. Some of the issues which have been of a greater concern to us relate to the double whammy of fiscal and current account deficits. Last year, we ended up with a fiscal deficit of 5.9. This year, the FM, who was the then FM, Mr. Mukherjee, who has now moved as the president of the country, he had projected a fiscal deficit of something of the order of 5.1%. Before these measures announced by the government of India 3-4 days back, it was widely feared that these numbers could go for a toss, and we were looking at a fiscal deficit once again something in the region of 5.9, 5.8, between a narrow band of say 5.8 to 6%. Things have improved slightly. These diesel prices, curtailment on cylinder, LPGs and other things may give the government some leeway. They are also going to announce another slew of measures on the divestment front. Maybe this will give the government some breathing time, but still the situation is quite bad. There are certainly reasons for concern, if not for alarm. Another issue of great concern to us is the high current account deficit. Last year, we ended with a current account deficit of 4.3%. We have a rough and ready benchmark. In economics, as almost in all spheres of life, we lay great store by these rough benchmarks. This may not give you an exact and a precise situation, but this certainly throws up warning signals and highlights the need for prompt corrective action. Normally, in the case of a large growing economy like India, 3% is usually considered to be the benchmark level at which the country can comfortably live with. But last year, we ended up with a current account deficit of 4.3%. This year, things seem to be slightly improving, but still, by all indications, we may end up with a current account deficit something of the region of 4%, which again is cause for concern. All of us are consumers in the market. We are